So last week, we learned about one of the two methods, point by point. And in the beginning of the lesson, of course, I had to make a comparison between a good old American cheeseburger with one and only Korean burger called Bulgogi Burger. Now, in case you want to know what that is, just Google it. I'll put a link up there. It's the best burger in the world anyway, anyhow. So when I said point by point using the two burgers, the point by point was supposed to focus on the criteria. In this case, we had two criteria. First one was the type of meat, and the second one was the spiciness. Now, having these points, it really defines why we're making a comparison between the two subjects that are relative and different at the same time. Now, today I want to talk about the other method, which is called the block method, using two iPhones. Now, I have to tell you about my new iPhone. This is new iPhone called SE. I had to pre-order this about a week ago, so maybe smart way to just stay home, don't go out there, wait in line, just have them ship it to you. So that's what I did. So anyway, this is nothing fancy like the XR, XP, XX. I don't know. I think iPhone comes out with the worst name every year, but this is the SE, which stands for Special Edition. And there's nothing special about this because it has the same design as the iPhone 8, which is my old phone. But what's on the inside is really what makes a difference. For example, this phone has the same processor speed as the most powerful phone today, which is iPhone 11 Pro. And so when you think about that, they took the brain of the most powerful phone of 11 Pro and put it in here. So it's like taking the Ferrari engine and put it in my Honda Civics, right? I mean, as expected, it's blazing fast, right? So that's what it feels like having this old iPhone on the outside, but inside it is very fast. So today I want to compare and contrast about two phones here, iPhone 8 and iPhone SE, and to help demonstrate how to build the block method, okay? All right, let's do it. So looking at the very first sample for the block method outline, so let me walk you through the thesis. So we have two subjects, iPhone SE and an iPhone 8, and I also want to highlight on their similarities as well as their differences along with three criteria. We have design, processor, and camera. Now keep in mind the 3 points here are also the subpoints, and again, having subpoints attached to your thesis is always good. So let's look at the body paragraphs. The first body paragraph on the left, as expected, you are going to use these 3 points as supporting sentences. And then the next thing I want you to notice very carefully is that in body 1, there's no mention about the second subject, which is iPhone 8. This is all strictly limited to the first subject, like iPhone SE. Now, this feels like you're writing a classification essay or like a descriptive paragraph that you did in level 2, which is fine. That's exactly what you should do for body 1. Now, body 2 is where you're going to reference or write about both subjects. As you can see where I just highlighted, when you see something that is similar, you're going to use words like or in similar to. If you have something that is different, then you're going to use words like unlike or in contrast to another subject. So looking at this from a distance, iPhone 8 and iPhone SE both have the same Retina display. Looking at the processor, iPhone SE has a 13 Bionic chip, which is the same chip used in the iPhone 11 Pro, so it is the smartest, fastest, and the most powerful phone out there. Because of the powerful chip, it has a portrait mode, which lets you take from different angles. It's one of those Apple's legendary camera features. Now, looking at iPhone 8, it's just a standard or traditional one-dimensional shooting. So looking at sample 2, this is like essay 1 in your textbook on page 154 and 155. And I'm also using the same thesis as I did from sample 1. Now, as you notice from the beginning, I have organized all the similarities in body 1, and I organized all the differences in body 2, right? And another thing you might have noticed is that for each body paragraph, I am referencing both subjects, okay, in body 1, iPhone SE and iPhone 8 in body 2. Now, from a distance, you might think that, hey, this may be the easiest outline, but let me just warn you that there's just going to be a lot of writing in each paragraph, because think about this outline pointers here, right? For similarity 1 and screen resolution, you have to mention both subjects. Same goes for similarity 2. We talk about design, you gotta have to mention both. Difference on the processor, you're gonna have to mention 13 on SE, 11 on 8. And then camera, iPhone SE has a portrait mode, whereas iPhone 8 doesn't. It operates by traditional digital camera. So that's a lot of content, right? Keep that in mind. When you go back to the first sample, looking at first body, you're just writing one subject as it is, right? Just a descriptive paragraph until you get to body paragraph 2, where you're going to have to make some comparison. You reference
both subjects here. So it's really up to you. Neither one is better than the other.
So here's a quick summary. For point by point, we had 4 samples of outline. You could rewatch the lesson 6 again, or looking at today on the block method, we have 2 samples of outline. Again, it's up to you. Neither one is better than the other. Although I've had students pick the point by point, even though they have to write additional body paragraph. As for block method, the real challenge is writing the topic sentences. It can be a little tricky at times. But most importantly, you want to be just intentional, whether to focus on the similarities, differences, or both, advantages, differences, or as long as you can stay consistent by following those rule 1, rule 2. Lastly, the real reason why I love about this phone is the price point. At $399, I get to save $600 compared to the $1,000 11 Pro. Now think about that. I'm saving $600 just for the cosmetics, but it's in the inside that makes all the difference. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time.